Going from a citizen to a law enforcement officer, yes, you're still a citizen, but now you're a citizen with authority. It can be challenging. Let's discuss. Before we start covering this, listen, those gifts are in the description for you. The Getting Started workshop is going to walk you through each phase of the hiring process so you know what you're getting into and what to expect. Knowledge is power in that aspect. And also there's some hidden gifts in there for you as well, hidden bonuses. Additionally, if you have something specific to your hiring process and you have questions and you need help, reach out to a free coaching call for myself. Once again, both of those gifts are in the description below. Let's get started. You have decided to become a law enforcement officer, and regardless of what your background is, you're going from an everyday citizen to a citizen with authority over other individuals, as long as it's legal, right? We got to make sure we stay within the confines of the law. And that being said, is becoming a law enforcement officer from a normal citizen role can be a challenge. And I say this for a couple different reasons, because you're going to go into the academy. The academy is going to try to teach you how to pay attention for all these extreme incidents, how to handle a felony traffic stop, how to deal with a warrant, like a felony warrant, how to deal with individuals who try to fight you, how to be proficient with firearms, how to defend yourself in a physical altercation, how to engage with people, how to stand so that you look professional but are ready to defend yourself. And there's a trend in all this in the academy, and that trend is you versus them. The problem is you need to realize you are them, right? Whether my grammar is correct here or not, it doesn't matter. But you are no longer not a citizen, right? Just because you get a badge and you get what's called positional authority, because know that law enforcement don't have any extra rights. There's no extra rights. What you have is you have authorities and you have law that grants you a specific number of actions you're allowed to take depending on what you see and what you can articulate. Now, going through that transition can be difficult. One, we usually cover the hiring process. Your transition starts in the hiring process, right? You need to learn how to clearly articulate and how to clearly convey a message. Usually that message is about yourself to other individuals that are looking to hire you, and even review past issues or past employment and just your history in general, right? They're going to look at your criminal history. They're going to look at your work history. They're going to look at your credit history. They're going to look at all this stuff. And if they have questions, you need to be able to clearly articulate how to do it. But then as you transition through this hiring process, which is long and arduous, then you get into the academy. And as you get into the academy, they start to train you in how to be a hyper observant individual, how to look for certain cues, and ultimately how to look for people being dishonest, while you get this mentality not pushed on you, but taught to you for 6 months or more, depending on how long your academy is. You have this preconceived notion that when you leave the academy, everyone is against you. But that's not the truth, right? You're there. And remember, don't ever forget why you want to join, right? Why do you want to become a police officer? Your why is the most important thing. If you say that you want authority and you want to be able to walk around with a firearm on your hip all day long, then my content is not for you. That's not the goal. I want to put good officers out on the street to help build that bridge between community members and law enforcement officers, the communities that they serve. And remember, law enforcement is a service. Any government function, any government employment is a service to the community. And if you lose track of that, you lose the ability to be a good law enforcement or police officer. I'm not saying there's not bad people out there. And of course you want to get bad people off the street, and you're happy to get bad people off the street, but you can't go into every situation thinking, okay, bad person, until they prove that to you that they're not, right? That's not the right way to do it. And academies have pushed a lot of effort into teaching new recruits and new police officers how to better articulate and converse with everyday citizens so that you can better understand what it is that you're dealing with. Yes, they're going to teach you all these defensive postures and all these different interview and investigation techniques, and you're going to utilize them with every individual you work with. But, and a huge but here, but as soon as you see that there is possibly nothing going on here, or you have no inclination that nothing's going on here, no evidence, no reasonable suspicion, no probable cause, these are all terms you're going to become very familiar with, then you at this point in time have the only reason you're engaging with this person, whether it's a consensual contact, whether it's a traffic stop, whether it's an investigation, you have to conclude like, hey, maybe this isn't the right person. And in doing so, you may have upset an individual, right? And that's not your goal. When I talk to every single person who reaches out to me, I want to serve my community. If that is what you want to do, and that's part of what you want to do, then this content is for you. And this content is, don't forget why you wanted to become a police officer. You're going to go through this arduous process only to become a law enforcement officer and then lose sight of what you wanted to be. And that is a positive impact on your community that you're serving. Emphasis on the word serving. So how do we do this? First of all, you have to make it through this hiring process. And while the hiring process is long and a lot of people have to repeat it multiple times because they may not get picked up with their first agency, you do have to realize that when you do get picked up with your agency, you're not done. You're always going to be evaluated, whether it's by the community members you serve, by the supervisors that you work for. You're always going to be the one getting evaluated. If you take that mindset and say, hey, I'm applying it right now, right? I'm wrapping this all back up to help you get hired, and apply it right now. Maybe you are in college, right? And maybe you just graduated college, or maybe you're in your 30s or 40s and you're saying, hey, I've always wanted to do law enforcement. I have the opportunity to do law enforcement right now. Let me take some good self-reflection. Why do I want to be a law enforcement officer? And then how has my experience in my past impacted my ability to become a law enforcement officer? If you look at all those things that you've learned from, think about the times you've gotten stopped by a law enforcement officer for a traffic infraction, and they stop you, and think about the way they behaved, whether or not you were doing something wrong or you weren't. Were they behaving professionally? Was the stop questionable? Did they seem arrogant? You know, all these things are the things that need to register with you so that you don't put them into the person you want to be when you become a law enforcement officer. And there's going to be a lot of people that rub off on you. The goal is to take the positive from everyone else, build that into the officer you want to be, and then go from there and try to project it out. You're always learning. And the minute you stop learning in your law enforcement career is the minute you should probably just say, I'm done. Because if you think you know everything, then you're at some point going to be a bad police officer. If you walk into it, say, hey, there's nothing I can learn. There's nothing that this person can tell me that will change anything. And you're just going to be ill prepared for the time when that happens. So you go through this hiring process. You know who you are. You know your why. You know why you want to be a law enforcement officer. You know that, hey, I was a citizen at one point. I still am a citizen. I'm just a citizen with positional authority. Now, how do I continue to use this positional authority to best serve my community? Well, you do it by acting in good faith of why you signed up, right? Sticking to your why. If your why, like I said, is something that's less than honorable, this content's not for you. If your why is very honorable and the end goal here is service and you want to make a positive impact, obviously this is for you. And the way you do this is by starting right now, right before you even apply or during the application process. You make sure, hey, this is the type of officer I want to be. I don't care where you write it down, commit it to memory, whatever you have to do, but make sure that you understand this is the type of officer I want to be. And if you ever feel yourself diverting from that path, right, you need to either wind yourself back in, or maybe consider this isn't the right path for you. Now, that's not what I want to say to individuals, because I want you to become a good police officer. I want you to get out there, serve your community, whether that's in the local or state or federal sector, or even in a special agent position, or however you want to pursue your law enforcement career. And the problem that you run into is how long the process is, that once you complete the process, you feel a sense of accomplishment, which you should, but then you start to feel that that accomplishment is an entitlement. And that's something that is what leads all law enforcement officers down a bad road. So keep that in mind. This isn't the typical type of information I cover here. And the reason is that's usually I try to give you all actionable information that you can work on. But this is probably one of the more important ones, where after you get through becoming a police officer, and we have helped hundreds of people at this point become law enforcement officers, I felt that it is time to say, hey, what is next? Who do you want to be as a law enforcement officer? And I think that's a good reflection to do well before you even start your hiring process. So who do you want to be? Write in the comments. Leave me a comment saying, what was your reason for starting or wanting to pursue law enforcement? Is it honorable? Is it an honorable reason that you decided to jump into this? Anyway, those gifts are in the description. Leave your comments below. I want to hear from everyone. You're getting started. Workshop is going to walk you through each phase of the hiring process, plus some added bonuses. And then that one-on-one call for me, if you want to sit down and figure out if this is the career for you to pursue, or even if you're in the process and you need help going through it, reach out. My gift to you. Both are completely free. As always, stay safe, and I will see you next time.